Hello and welcome to the show. Today we have with us Leah and Roger Persson from nxtedition. Now nxtedition's been in the news a bit recently with broadcast solutions and a live stream from Wimbledon FC, which as I understand was produced entirely remotely. So we're going to chat about, you guessed it, remote production and how remote it can actually be.
Yeah, so firstly, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Great. So currently, with social distancing, the need for a true mobile production solution is certainly a priority. But before we dig too deep into what you can offer, can you give everyone a brief introduction into nxtedition?
Yeah, sure. I mean, well, so much to say in so little time, but I will for sure try my best. nxtedition is like an aspirin, I would say. And what I mean by that, we take care of headaches. And what I mean by that is taking care of production headaches and workflow headaches, of course. We used to be a system integrator, and we discovered that we put a lot of effort into solving headaches, and that created a lot of frustration. To that point, we asked the question: does it really need to be like this? And the question was, no, it doesn't need to be like this. So when we started actually to develop our own automation system, and after that, a MAM system, a prompter system, etc. So nxtedition is a holistic production solution which contains planning, scripting, NRCS, wire services, MAM search, prompters, ingest, record, gallery automation, channel playout, social media, and also radio, AI, subtitling, graphics, and streaming in and out.
Wow, that's great. It looks like the whole workflow there. So let's delve into remote production now and ask the question really, can we actually replace an OB truck?
In certain circumstances, yeah, we can. I mean, what we do is we move the function from the truck to the data center, and then it's irrelevant as to where the cameras are and where the production team are, because the data center holds that role. So in the case of something like Wimbledon, we got into a situation where we used 4 cameras and SRT feeds back across public internet back to the data center in Malmo, Sweden, where I logged in, but I'm 50 kilometers away from that point. In actual fact, I can actually show you a little video here. So the studio that you just saw that Roger's in, that's actually our data center. It's right next door to the data center there. So the cameras there are basically hardwired into the vision mixer, but obviously they could be SRT feeds. And then I'm here. I'm around about 45 kilometers away in the Swedish countryside. And this is where I'm actually operating the studio that Roger is in. And I've got complete control of everything from this location. And the reason that works is because we're just basically really using small amounts of data to control the servers, and all the heavy lifting is left on the ground in the actual data center. So in the case of the job with Wimbledon, what we were doing there was that situation required some thought around comms. For instance, comms is very important when you're on a remote production. Broadcast Solutions came up with a brilliant solution. They have this touchscreen Trilogy panel with the Trilogy base station back in the data center, so that we could talk to each other really easy. I could talk to the presenters, I could talk to the producer on site as well. And then just cutting the cameras with the shot box here. So for instance, if I want Roger up, I just push number 3 and Roger comes up. If I take it away, you come back to me. So it was really a very simple solution to do that actual job. It's private cloud is the answer, in our opinion.
Yeah, so you're using the public internet to access your data center, your private cloud, so to speak. So is that an essential part of it? Why do it that way?
Well, I mean, over the SRT stuff is really good, and the link that came from the ground was actually just a pretty bog standard internet link. It was quite incredible how that SRT technology works. It's really effective, and once you bridge that gap, it's a small gap to control all the stuff in the automation.
It seems like an incredible solution with a lot of flexibility in there. What do you see the uses are, or potentially what they could be in the future?
Well, I see that the potential, I think, is quite great. I mean, for us, in order to be competitive, still in the industry, the client needs to be first, fast, accurate, and to be more productive. And in order to do that, you need a system that allows you to do that, and not have a system that stands in your way. And with that system, you will always be the first notification on the phone, and that's where we believe the future is. And so, and if it's a broadcaster or is a newspaper or whatever, we don't really care. It's about telling stories through video or radio.
Just to fill that out a little bit, we're also we're giving people what they have already. So the pieces of virtualization that we don't do is things like the vision mixer and the audio desk. People have those in place already. They kind of like them. That next is as much automation or as little automation as you like. They can cut on the bus if they really want to. However, everything else is virtualized. And because everything else is virtualized, that's the prompters, the transcoding, everything. In fact, actually, we've just released transcodeless playback, which allows us to bring files in. And if the playout machine can play that format of file, it will just play it straight away, directly, without any transcoding involved at all. So we can be really fast when people, for instance, tweet a video to us. We can throw the video in the rundown and play it, boom. Or we can pull stuff like a goal off the ingest machine and play it straight away, instantly. Be that from the shot box. And also, we get into a situation like if I go to camera 4 here, which is a high up wide shot, you can see we've got 2 screens there in the studio. So something like a quiz show, something like QI, for instance, or something like that. We can easily change the video walls. And again, remember, I'm 40 kilometers away, and I just push this button and I get an aquarium on the video wall, even to the point I can actually bring myself into the shot as well, and I can give Roger a high five. High five, Rog.
You're fully in control of Roger's life. Fascinating.
I am totally in control, and I can even bring you guys in as well at the same time there. So you see, we're very, very dynamic, and we're very, very fast, and being able to do this stuff means, as Roger just said earlier, that makes you the first notification on the phone, and if you're the second notification, you're lost.
And so a quick return, and this is the thing, the question about can you or do you want to replace trucks, full stop. And it seems to be that it just depends on the level of automation and the level of experience that the production team want as to whether you're going to fully replace trucks using this kind of system or not. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I would say that, like, for instance, if you've got like 50 cameras covering a football game with all the replay stuff like that, you need people for that. I mean, that's very, you can't have latency there.
Absolutely.
We learn to deal with some latency. There is some latency, but it's not undoable by miles. But in those situations, you can't. But those smaller gigs where you have the smaller trucks, the award ceremonies, even things like smaller football, squash, tennis, stuff like that. Certainly when you come to these new systems where they can take the wider picture of the pitch and they can stitch it together and just send you one signal back for the smaller sports. Then we can obviously put graphics on that. We can bring that into the studio. The guest can talk about it. The host can talk about it, etc. So you could do a full presentation for those sort of minor sports as well. So it can replace the truck in those respects, and also it's very COVID friendly. As you can see, we're miles apart. I did it. That was the joke at Wimbledon, that we were COVID friendly because I was 1,000 kilometers away.
Fair enough. And you're offering this fully as a service. You said you were an installations company. You were an SI previously. Is this something where someone could turn around and say, actually, no, provide that solution as a package for me, or is it only as a service from Sweden at the moment?
I mean, we can do it in different ways. We have different options. It depends a little bit what end clients want. Somebody wants to own their own hardware, and we can solve that. Or it's a lot about OPEX and CapEx. It's a discussion. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think before we started, you mentioned you were the best kept secret in broadcast. Where have you been all these years?
Oh, we've been at IBC. It's, I think from our perspective, it's what you might call a tough sell, because you're asking people to replace a lot of stuff that they've either invested in already or that they're very used to. Roger refers to it as the Valley of Tears. It's been so painful to make it work, they don't want to go through that process again. Yeah. But this, I always say, this is a very 21st century way of working, and the way broadcast works now is still very 20th century. You could, for instance, replace the NRCS with some AI thing, but you're only replacing one part of the problem. You're not solving the entire chain, and we've tried to solve the entire chain.
And I just a remark, a note there. I asked one of our clients this frank question: do you believe that nxtedition is a revolution or an evolution? And they said when it comes to training, when it comes to training, it's for sure a revolution product, because we train for example, a journalist. It's an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then they're off. Then they know everything they need to know. And if you want to become an expert, what we call it, a black belt in nxtedition, then it's a 24 hours training course. That's it, and then you have a black belt. And if you compare that with the competition, I mean, we are miles ahead. And I think that's why a lot of clients are scared, because they think it's a lot of hassle, a lot of headaches. But as I mentioned at the beginning, we are the aspirin to solve that.
We get it. Well, let's hope some of our viewers come by and have a look and get in touch. So before we let you go, we did pre-warn you. We don't know who's going to answer or if there's one for both of you, but we're in an industry about people and relationships. We want to know if there's anything about you that your colleagues or certainly we don't know about you yet. Give us something you do when you shut down at night.
Adam, please go.
I was once in a band that opened for the Beautiful South on their first ever live gig.
And cool. I actually have a room in my apartment that it's totally enclosed in plastic, and the reason for that is actually I go bananas. I'm a big fan of Jackson Pollock, so I do paintings Jackson Pollock style. In order to do that and to protect the apartment, I need to have everything covered in plastic. Then I go bananas. That's what I do.
Okay, fair enough. Please you went that direction, because I had American Psycho in my mind and I was getting worried for a minute.
I was worried about the room in plastic for a second, but it had a good ending. Thank you for watching today. Brilliant. And thank you to Adam and Roger from nxtedition for coming on the show. To see all of our videos and interviews, kit reviews and so on, then head over to KitPlus TV, which is brought to you with the support of Mediaproxy, and you can find out more about them at mediaproxy.com. Thank you for watching.